Israel is looking increasingly desperate to re-enter a renewed phase of war, launching interceptors even as Iran's missiles are targeting Jordan rather than Israeli soil. Netanyahu has fired up the Iron Dome to prevent shrapnel falls in Israel, while Iran attacks Jordan. Is Israel using the risk of debris as a justification to bring its air defense system into active combat mode? Israel is now on edge as fragments from Aqaba's missiles are seen as a growing threat to Eilat, with the southern city effectively becoming a frontline outpost in the shadow of nearby strikes. The war has reached Netanyahu's doorstep as Iranian missiles pound Aqaba across the border, pushing the conflict right up to Israel's southern coastline and making escalation harder to avoid. Satellite imagery now lays bare what official statements tried to soften. U.S. assets in the Gulf and Jordanian desert have taken real, visible damage by successive Iranian strikes. Iran's attacks decimated rows of U.S. jets and helicopters at key Gulf-linked bases, turning what were once symbols of American air dominance into charred metal and twisted rotor blades. The fact that Mojtaba's forces have once again battered the same critical airbase in Jordan raises a harsh question. Have no lessons been learned about hardening defenses and dispersing assets in the face of repeated strikes? And it's not just troops under fire. U.S. jets and Black Hawk helicopters have been hit hard enough to be effectively bombed to ashes, signaling that Iran is now targeting the full spectrum of America's forward power projection. Iran's recent attacks on U.S. bases in Jordan have caused mounting damage, with satellite imagery clearly showing hit structures, scarred shelters, and impacted support areas. In just 5 days, more than 4 strikes have wounded dozens of U.S. troops and damaged jets and helicopters, indicating a sustained effort to hurt both personnel and critical air assets. The deadliest attack occurred on July 17 at Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Azraq, Jordan, marking a major escalation in Iran's targeting of U.S. facilities in the country. That strike killed 2 U.S. soldiers, left 1 missing, wounded 4 more and damaged jet shelters, demonstrating that even hardened protection around aircraft can be breached. The same base was hit on July 15, leaving about 20 U.S. troops injured, according to reports, showing Iran's willingness to revisit and restrike the very same key installation within days. Another Iranian strike damaged multiple U.S. Black Hawk helicopters in Jordan, directly degrading rotary wing capability that is vital for transport, medevac, and support missions. A separate attack hit a U.S. residential facility, wounding several service members and bringing the danger into spaces where troops live, not only where they operate. U.S. officials have said these attacks demonstrate Iran's ability to penetrate and even overwhelm air defenses, raising serious questions. Iran says its drones targeted U.S. military facilities and support infrastructure deep inside Kuwait during the latest wave of attacks. Tehran claims another wave of Iranian drones penetrated U.S. defensive networks and struck military positions in Kuwait. Iranian officials warn that every American military installation across the Gulf is now considered a legitimate target if hostilities continue. Tehran insists no U.S. base in the Gulf is beyond the reach of its expanding drone and missile capabilities. Iran said it launched a fresh wave of drone attacks against U.S. targets in Kuwait on July 19. According to the Iranian military, the attacks targeted an ammunition depot at Camp Al-Adari inside Kuwaiti territory. Iran also claimed it struck personnel and equipment facilities at Ali al-Salem Air Base during the operation. Tehran said the latest operation followed similar drone attacks against U.S. targets carried out on July 18. Iran described the strikes as part of what it called an expanding campaign against American military forces across the region. Iran's army said, and I quote, "Following the violation of international treaties and the arrogant enemy's crimes in civilian areas, the Islamic Republic of Iran Army, in the new round of drone attacks and the 17th stage of Operation Lightning, has again targeted the American terrorist army's ammunition warehouse in Al-Adari camp and the equipment and personnel sheds of this child-killing army in Kuwait's Ali al-Salem base. The Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran emphasized, our war is to defend Iran's authentic identity and its thousands of years of history, and the people who neither do oppression nor accept oppression in the light of Islamic teachings. Therefore, the soldiers of the army, with deep belief in this divine teaching, stand firm in the face of the enemies of Iran and humanity to defend the honorable people." Unquote. Earlier, videos circulating online claimed to show U.S. missile launches from military bases inside Kuwait. The footage purportedly showed U.S. forces firing ATACMS ballistic missiles toward Iranian territory. Iran has reportedly modified its missile arsenal to better challenge U.S. air and missile defense networks, according to the Wall Street Journal. Officials told the newspaper that Tehran used high-speed missiles capable of maneuvering during the final phase of their descent. U.S. officials said the adaptations helped Iran place greater pressure on sensitive American military targets across the region. Washington remains concerned as Iran continues missile and drone strikes against U.S. positions in the Middle East. Meanwhile, U.S. Central Command said American forces launched a fresh round of airstrikes against military targets inside Iran. The U.S. military said the operation targeted capabilities used to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM also said the strikes hit IRGC-linked elements allegedly involved in attacks against U.S. troops stationed in Jordan. According to the Pentagon, the latest operation was carried out under orders from President Donald Trump. Trump described the deaths of 2 U.S. service members in recent Iranian attacks as very sad. The U.S. president also said he couldn't care less if Iran chose to abandon the Memorandum of Understanding. U.S. Central Command confirmed 2 American service members were killed as a result of an Iranian attack, a development that marks a serious escalation in the ongoing regional confrontations. CENTCOM says the 2 service members died on July 17 after an Iranian missile struck a position in Jordan, with the incident occurring amid a broader wave of strikes and counterstrikes. In addition to the confirmed fatalities, CENTCOM reports that a 3rd service member is currently listed as missing in action, and search and recovery operations are underway to determine their status. For other U.S. personnel who sustained injuries in the same series of attacks were medically evacuated and admitted to Jordanian hospitals for treatment and stabilization, according to military statements. CENTCOM reports that several additional service members who suffered relatively minor injuries were treated and subsequently returned to duty, reflecting a mix of casualty severities from the strike. Military officials said they would not publicly identify the fallen troops until all next of kin had been properly notified, following standard protocol for casualty announcements. After the strikes, Iranian authorities released a public message directed at Jordanians, framing the attacks as a response to foreign military activity and urging local actors to reconsider cooperation with U.S. forces.